Hello friends, welcome to my channel Tag Botany. If you are first time watching my channel, then please subscribe, like, share, comment and press the bell icon to get the latest updates on my channel. This video deals with orchid family, that is family Orchidaceae. Let us begin with the classification of Orchidaceae according to Bentham and Hooker system of classification. Division Phanerogams, subdivision Angiospermi, class Monocotyledone, series Microspermi and family Orchidaceae. You know that in case of class Monocots, it is directly divided into series, and the series are directly divided into families. That means there are no subclasses and there are no orders in this class Monocotyledone. Let us have a look at the geographical distribution of Orchidaceae. This family is cosmopolitan in distribution. That is, the members of this family are found all over the world. Being one of the largest families of flowering plants, Orchidaceae comprises about 763 genera and 28,000 species. About 130 genera and 880 species have been reported from India. These are some major genera belonging to family Orchidaceae. Bulbophyllum with 2000 species, Epidendrum with 1500 species, then Pleurothallis with 1000 species, Dendrobium with 1400 species, Habenaria with 880 species, Oncidium with 330 species, Odontoglossum with 400 species, Cattleya with 60 species, Cypripedium with 58 species and Vanda with 60 species. General habit of family Orchidaceae. Family Orchidaceae comprises perennial herbs, either terrestrial, epiphytic or saprophytic. So these perennial herbs are having three types of habits. Terrestrial means the plants growing on land surface like orchis. Epiphytic means the plants growing on another plants or above the trunks and branches of above other plants, for example Cattleya. And some plants are saprophytic like Neotia, that means they are growing on the dead organic matter. Vanilla is a climber which needs support for its proper growth and development. Then root of Orchidaceae. Orchidaceae possesses fibrous, tuberous or rhizomatous roots. Aerial roots have velamen tissues. This velamen tissue plays an important role in absorption of moisture from the atmosphere. So here you can see the transverse section of velamen tissue in case of Vanda. Coming to the stem, epiphytic orchids usually contain fleshy pseudobulbs. These pseudobulbs are storage organs. Pseudobulbs are storage organs. This is a pseudobulb, this is also a pseudobulb. Pseudobulbs are of two types, containing single internode. This is a single internode pseudobulb which is known as heteroblastic pseudobulb, and the second type is the pseudobulbs containing several internodes, one above the other. These are called as homoblastic pseudobulbs. Then the stems may be leafy or scapodes. Scapodes means the stems which bear flowers or inflorescence. The stems may be sympodial, for example in Dendrobium, or they may be monopodial, for example in Vanda. So here you can see sympodial stem as well as the monopodial stem. So in case of sympodial stem, the lateral buds are forming the pseudobulbs, and generally the pseudobulbs, they are terminating in the flower and the lateral buds continue their growth. And in case of monopodial stems, so on both the sides leaves are developing and it is growing like a single axis, that is monopodial stems. So here the example of Laelia superbiens, that is a sympodial orchid. So here you can see the terminal inflorescence, the bud has terminated into an inflorescence, and then the growth is continued by forming the lateral buds which are forming the pseudobulbs. So this is a sympodial orchid. This is a scape. Scape is a type of stem which is bearing on its top inflorescence or flowers. Saprophytic forms usually lack chlorophyll. For example, Corallorhiza. So this is a Corallorhiza stem and this is saprophytic. That means it is growing on dead organic matter and it is lacking chlorophyll. Therefore, it is non-green in color. Then let us study the leaf in Orchidaceae. Leaf is usually simple, alternate, often distichous. It is simple, type of leaf is simple. Then phyllotaxy is alternate, and in that alternate the phyllotaxy is distichous. Distichous means the phyllotaxy in which the leaves are on opposite sides of each other and they are one above the other. Rarely opposite phyllotaxy sometimes reduced to achlorophyllous scales, for example saprophytic species. So in case of saprophytic orchids, achlorophyllous scales are found, usually fleshy and linear to ovate in shape. Shape of the leaf is linear to ovate and leaves are fleshy, often encircling the stem with a sheathing base. Leaf is having a sheathing or covering base. Foliage leaves are absent in some species of Dendrophylax and Epipogon. Only a single leaf per shoot is present in Pleurothallis. So here you can see in Pleurothallis only a single leaf is present. So here you can see the sheathing leaf base. That means the leaf base is covering the stem or encircling the stem. Dendrophylax is having no foliage leaves, only scale leaves are present. Foliage leaves are absent in Dendrophylax. Let us study the inflorescence. Inflorescence in Orchidaceae is variable from racemose to paniculate. In case of Oncidium, it is paniculate type of inflorescence. Spicate means spike inflorescence, or flowers solitary in Cypripedium. So here you can see Oncidium having paniculate inflorescence, compound raceme, and Cypripedium having single or solitary flower. Then let us study flower proper. Usually bracteate, flower is provided with a bract, bisexual or rarely unisexual. Flowers are zygomorphic, that means they are having bilateral symmetry. Flowers are epigynous, that means the ovary is inferior in this case. Flowers are showy, beautifully colored, extraordinarily diverse in shape, size and color. And the flowers are mostly resupinate, that means they are twisted 180 degree or upside down. So this is a peculiarity or diagnostic feature of the orchid flower. They are resupinate, that means they are twisted 180 degree. Let us study the perianth. So perianth is usually having 6 tepals in 2 whorls of 3 each. The outer wall representing calyx of 3 tepals is green or colored. The inner wall that is representing corolla of 3 tepals and it is petaloid, that means it is colorful or colored. Of these, the posterior tepal is highly modified, often projected basally into a spur. This spur is called labellum or lip. So this posterior tepal is modified one and it is called as labellum or lip. So what is this labellum or lip? It is strictly the uppermost petal but looks as if located on the lower side of the flowers in most orchids, because it is caused either by twisting the ovary through 180 degree as in many flowered orchids, or by the pedicel bending back over the apex of the stem as in the single flowered orchids. This phenomenon is called as resupination. It enables the labellum to work as a landing place for pollinating insects. So here in this flower you can see this labellum here, that is a landing surface for pollinating insects. Here you can see the insect pollinating, that is harboring on the labellum. Then coming to Androecium, it is represented by 2 fused lateral stamens or 1 terminal stamen. Stamens are 2, then they are fused, they are lateral or 1 terminal stamen. Anthers are dithecous, bicelled, and they are intrors, that means they are facing towards the center of the flower. Pollen grains granular or bound together by viscine threads into masses called as pollinia. Viscine threads are visible here. Stigmas, style and stamens are adnate to form a single highly complex structure called column or gynandrium. Stigmas, style and stamens, they are forming a single structure that is called as a column or a gynandrium. Then Gynoecium proper. Gynoecium is tricarpellary. It is syncarpous, that means the carpels are 3 carpels are fused with each other, syncarpous. Inferior unilocular ovary. Inferior ovary and ovary is having a single compartment, that is locule, that means unilocular. Many ovules in the locule. Placentation is parietal. Placentation is parietal. Rarely the ovary is trilocular and the placentation is exhale in case of apostasia. Style 1 part of the column. Stigmas 3, of which 2 lateral are often fertile and the third one is sterile, forming a beak called as rostellum. So here you can see the rostellum and all those structures. So the remaining part of this family will be covered in the next video. Thank you.